everyone! Can we all just take a second to appreciate this t-shirt? It's a quote from A Darker Shade of Magic and it's great. So you know how everyone has these types of books that they kind of feel they need to read in order to feel accomplished or better as a human being or just more educated and aware of different books. So today I kind of just want to go through the books that are on my bucket list, let's call it, and this is not a very diverse list. As I made it, I realized it's mostly classics that are super popular that I just haven't gotten around to reading yet, but we're just gonna go through it, you know? So the first book is Everybody Sees the Ants by A.S. King. I think this is the only YA book on this list. Yes. I've heard a lot about it, but actually from very few people. So it's like a really popular read, but also not really. Okay. Apparently it's like this really moving and touching read about a boy who lost his grandfather to the Vietnam War. And he has a lot of issues with his dysfunctional family, and he is bullied, and there's some magical realism element. Basically, he, in his dreams, escapes reality into this jungle of Laos where the war was happening, and there he's a hero and an adventurer, and he escapes life into a better life of his, where he actually accepts himself, I guess. It's quite interesting because the premise of the book to me doesn't sound like something I would normally read, something that would attract my attention if I had not heard so many great reviews about it. But because I have, and because people are constantly talking about it despite it being published 9 years ago, I had to count. But yeah, I just thought it's something that feels like a classic in its own genre, so I just need to read this. No other explanation other than I really want to. There's one book that I've tried twice to read, but I could not. I don't know how I'll ever get through it, which is so bad to say because so many people love it once again. And that's Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, which is such a beloved romance classic book by her, and everyone seems to love it so much. And I tried getting through it twice and I stopped on like the first chapter because I don't know, I was just not in the mood for it. Maybe it's just a specific type of read for a specific type of mood, but I haven't gotten around to finishing it yet. And I feel like I really have to read it to understand all of these references everywhere and to be part of this like group of people who read it and hopefully loved it. I like how the description on Goodreads is just praise about the book, it's not actual description of it. Like, you don't need to know what it is about, you just need to know it's Jane Austen. She's great, go read that book. From what I gather, we're following this character, Elizabeth Bennet, I think, and we're just following her through life as she's learning about what's good and what's not that good, and there's some romance thing, and everyone loves Mr. Darcy, and yeah. The next book is More Than This by Patrick Ness. Actually, I guess there's more than one YA book on this list. I think this is the last one though. I think so. We'll see. This is a book that the premise actually sounds so interesting to me, and it feels like a kind of classic in the YA genre, especially the YA science fiction genre. So basically, this boy is drowning and he's dying, and then he wakes up in a different place. I mean, in another place. And it's just like, is this afterlife? Where is he? What's going on? And this sounds so interesting. And once again, I've heard such amazing things about this book. So it's something that I just really want to read and really want to feel accomplished after reading it, because it feels like it's going to be an exciting book. The next book I have on this is Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. So this book is about a scientist who, as his legacy, left an atomic bomb which can freeze the entire planet. And in the book, some characters are trying to find this bomb and in the process go really insane and mad. And considering Kurt Vonnegut's writing, I know this is going to be an excellent read, and considering all the great reviews, I really expect this to be a really interesting commentary on a lot of problems involving power. I know I'm not going to be disappointed. I just need to get around to reading it. But honestly, most of his books are on this like bucket list. I mean, would be on this bucket list because he just seems to be a really great author that I need to read more of. I mean, freezing an entire planet with a bomb, that kind of speaks for itself. Next is a book that I actually should have probably read long ago, but I haven't, and that's 1984 by George Orwell. So if you're like me and you still haven't read it, it says on Goodreads that this book is about a nightmarish vision of a totalitarian, bureaucratic world and one poor stiff's attempt to find individuality. Yeah, I guess it's just a very terrifying world where everything is controlled and everything is programmed and like sad, and you have no choice but to follow, and freedom doesn't really exist. All of my friends who read it said they really enjoyed it. I mean, they found it to be very interesting. The whole world building seemed very interesting for them. It really reminds me of Brave New Worlds, especially since I read it quite recently. But I guess it's just this sort of vibe. I enjoyed Brave New World in this really weird way. So I think I should definitely read this one sometime soon. The next book is If on a Winter's Night, A Traveler by Italo Calvino, which is, once again, a classic. And this time, seriously, I have no idea what it's about. I added it to this list because my friend talked about it once and it sounded very interesting to me, but she said it was super confusing. And it's here on this list. I really want to read it, but I forgot what it's about. And I'm here on Goodreads and I still don't know. There's a guy who buys this book, and after 30 or so pages he discovers that his copy is corrupted and consists of nothing but the first section over and over. Returning to the bookshop, he discovers the volume, which he thought was by Calvino, is actually by the Polish writer Zagbo. Given the choice between the two, he goes for the Pole, as does the other reader, but this copy turns out to be by yet another writer, as does the next and the next. I'm really confused. Oh, I think this is a type of book in which you are the other person. I think it's written in this second point of view. I might be very wrong, but that description did not explain anything to me, and I'm even more confused, and I'm even more willing to read this. Okay, moving on to the next one. We have 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This is just a story about like generations of a family, and there's also magical realism, and it's the chronicles of their life and solitude and love. I mean, I really just want to get around to reading it someday. I know it won't be soon. I feel like it will be 30 years from now, maybe. I don't know. I don't think anytime soon, because I don't think I would be able to relate to a lot of the stuff that's happening. But yeah, sometime in the future, I will get to this book. I will get to it. The next book is A House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. And this is the first book on this list that was published this year. And the last book on this list that was published this year. This is actually kind of a surprising book for me, but as I was looking through my Goodreads list, I got to this one and I just felt like I really need to read it. I don't know, there's some sort of pull that's pulling me towards it. I think it's like a middle grade fantasy book that I don't want to know much about, so I'm like not reading the description. But it's like this really heartwarming and sweet read that I don't know what it deals with, but people have been talking about it so much as this really awesome and amazing and lovely book, and that's why I really want to read it. I'm really excited about it. And the last book, we got to the last book, and one that I actually own. What an amazing novelty. And that's The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is like a I'm sorry, but it smells so good. I can't get over it. This is a fantasy book about the life of this wizard in this weird but also apparently really, really great fantasy world, and kind of just his life through his miseries and pains and growth and happiness as he's in this fantasy world and he's sleeping with princesses and fighting with dragons and doing weird stuff. I mean, I always love a good fantasy story. So yeah, it's here because I really want to read it. So that's it, guys. That's my book bucket list right here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would really like to know what books are on your bucket list, because that's just really interesting. It's really interesting to see what other people really wants to read. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you soon. I hope you're having a nice day, and it's also reading rush right now, so I hope your reading is going well. Hopefully mine is not, because somehow I don't want to read anymore right now, but never mind that. I hope that if you're participating, you're having fun, and yeah. Hope you're having a nice day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!